You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another dimension. A dimension of sound. A dimension of sight. A dimension of mind. You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into the Twilight Zone.
We have talked of the work of Alfred Edward Houseman, born what year, Miss Graham?
What year, sir?
Precisely the question.
Sometime around this century, I think.
Close, Miss Graham. Closer than usual. Alfred Edward Houseman was born, Miss Graham, and for the benefit of the rest of the class, in 1869. His death occurred what year, Mr. Butler?
Around 1900, sir.
My soul, Mr. Butler. You and Miss Graham are kindred spirits. You are masters of inexactness. Alfred Edward Houseman died in 1936. You will recall, I am sure, a Shropshire lad, a bit of which I will now read to you. When I was 21, I heard a wise man say, give crowns and pounds and guineas, but not your heart away. Give pearls away and rubies, but keep your fancy free. But I was 21, what used to talk to me? When I was 21, I heard him say again, the heart out of the bosom was never given in vain. 'Tis paid with sighs aplenty and sold for endless rue. And I am 22. No, 'tis true. 'Tis true. This being the last afternoon of the semester and 3 days before the Christmas holiday, I think it behooves me to show some minute degree of compassion to you and let you out early. I might add, however, that while your final examination papers are not yet ready to be returned to you, that you have all, amazingly enough, passed.
Oh boy!
Yes, my sense of delight is only exceeded by my sense of shock. In all of my years of teaching, it is rare that I have encountered such a class of dunderheads. But nice dunderheads, and potentially fine young men and women who will make their marks and leave their marks. God bless you all, and Merry Christmas!
Professor Ellis Fowler, a gentle, bookish guide to the young, who's about to discover that life still has certain surprises, and that the campus of the Rock Springs School lies in the direct path of another institution, commonly referred to as the Twilight Zone.
I would love to just eat and sleep.
Your Christmas plans are a lot better than mine. I got a lot of chores to do.
Oh, Fowler.
Oh, yes, Headmistress.
May I speak with you a moment, please?
Of course.
Sit down, sit down.
Oh.
Be comfortable. Am I keeping you?
No, not at all. Although there is a performance of Handel's Messiah on the radio at 5 o'clock, I would very much like to hear it. It's very lovely, rather Yule-like.
Yes, yes. Well, Professor, this won't take long. You did not respond to the letter the trustees sent you last week.
Letter? Oh, I'm sorry, Headmistress. I just realized I haven't opened my mail for the last few weeks. Well, what with preparations for the holiday and grading of final examinations, that sort of thing. But I'm sure I know the contents of that particular letter.
And your reaction?
Well, naturally I'll go along.
Well, that's very wise of you, Professor. I shall tell the trustees that you have read the communications and that you agree with it. Now, as to your replacement...
I was just talking with my housekeeper the other day, and I told her that I might very well teach at this school until I'm 100 years old. Oh, do you realize that 2 years ago, I taught the grandson of one of my former pupils? A grandson, mark you. Why, it was the Reynolds boy. You know his father, Damon Reynolds, and his grandfather. Oh, gosh, regular rascal of a boy, would persist in calling me Weird Beard. He never knew I knew he was calling me that.
Professor Fowler, I think it's best that you read the communications the trustees sent you.
Oh, well, indeed I will, Headmistress. Although it is an odd formality, isn't it? This contract signing every year. Well, you can tell the trustees for me that old Fowler won't desert the ship. No, ma'am. He'll stay at the wheel through fair weather and foul. Watch the crews come aboard and then depart.
Professor Fowler.
Come aboard and depart.
Professor Fowler, please, hear me out. You've been on the faculty for more than 50 years, but I'm sad to let you know that the communication from the trustees was not a contract. It was a letter of termination. We decided at our winter meeting that perhaps a younger man... If you could have been at the meeting, sir, you would have been very proud of all the things they said about you and your work. Teacher of the incalculable value to all of us. But our youth must be served. Changing the guard, that sort of thing.
Are you telling me, Headmistress, that my contract is not to be renewed? I'm discharged.
Discharged, Professor. Please do not call it that. Call it retirement and a half salary for the rest of your life.
The rest of my life. Well, does go to show one thing, doesn't it? Proves that a man should read his mail. Really should read his mail.
Maybe if we went Carolyn this year, it'd be pretty fun for you. Merry Christmas, Professor.
Merry Christmas, sir.
Miss Graham, Mr. Halliday, Merry Christmas to you both. Don't eat too much turkey. You're fine young students, both of you. Merry Christmas.
What's the matter with old Weird Beard?
He was crying. Did you notice that? He was crying. you care for some more tea, sir?
No, thank you.
Dinner will be ready in half an hour. Why don't you just take a little nap?
I'm sorry to be so rude, but do you think we might put off dinner this evening? I haven't much of an appetite.
But Professor, you have to eat something.
Perhaps later.
I can keep it warm for you. Why don't you just take a little nap?
Tammy Arnold. Never thought she would pass. She had this incorrigible habit of chewing bubblegum and popping it. Sounded like a cannon. Said to myself, it sounded exactly like a cannon. William Hood. Oh, little Bill Hood. Smallest boy to ever play varsity football here. He had a passion for Percy Bysshe Shelley. Artie Beechcroft. Now there was a lad. There was a staunch lad. Now was he the one that... Yes, his father wrote me a letter. He was killed in Vietnam during the Tet Offensive. He had the most infectious grin. He never stopped grinning. The moment he walked into the classroom, you just couldn't help but smile. They all come and go like ghosts. Names, faces, smiles. The funny things they said, or the sad things, or the poignant ones. I gave them nothing. I gave them nothing at all. Bits of poetry that left their heads the moment they themselves left. Old slogans that were out of date even when I taught them. Quotations dear to me but meaningless to them. I'm a failure, Miss Landers, an abject, dismal failure. I wandered from class to class, an old relic, teaching by rote to unwilling minds, unhearing ears, an abject, miserable failure. I moved nobody. I motivated nobody. I left my imprint on nobody. Now, how did I ever think that I was accomplishing anything? Miss Landers, I think I will take that nap now. And I'm sorry for putting off our dinner like this.
No, he's taken it. No, Professor! Professor Fowler!
Well, Horace Mann, I wonder if you ever had any self-doubts. I think not. Be ashamed to die until you have won some victory for humanity. Well, I have won no victories. And now, I'm ashamed to die. What? Class pass? That shouldn't be. There are no special sessions today. Nothing of the sort. Oh, I'm sorry. Forgive me. I just didn't That is, I didn't recollect.
Artie Beechcroft, second form, class of 67. How are you, Professor?
What? How's that? You say you're Artie Beechcroft. Well, so you are. I'd recognize you in that grin anywhere. Oh, I'm delighted to see you, Artie. Delighted to see you. I've missed you, Artie. But, Artie, how can this be? You shouldn't be here. You were...
I was killed in Vietnam. That's right, Professor. I sacrificed myself when I smothered a grenade to protect my fellow soldiers. I want to show you this, Professor. It's the Congressional Medal of Honor. It was awarded to me posthumously.
Very prideful thing, Mr. Beechcroft. A very prideful thing indeed. And I am proud of you. You are always a fine young man. A fine young man. But I don't understand.
Professor, sir, I'm Bartlett, third form, class of 74. I died in Roanoke, Virginia, sir. I was conducting medical research when I was exposed to radioactivity and contracted leukemia.
I remember, Miss Bartlett. That was a very brave thing you did.
I kept remembering, Professor, something you told me, a quote, a poet named Walter.
Howard Arnold Walter, I remember.
He said, I must be true, for there are those who trust me. I must be pure, for there are those who care. I must be strong, for there is much to suffer. And I must be brave, for there is much to dare. I never forgot that, Professor. That was something that you left me, and I never forgot it.
Oh, very decent, Miss Bartlett, of you to say that.
That's why I brought this medal to show you, Professor. Because it's partly yours. You taught me about courage. You taught me what it meant.
How incredible.
Sir?
Wyse, Dorothy Wyse, you were one of the first...
First responder to die, Professor. Yes, I was helping rescue others at the World Trade Center on 9/11. I was a paramedic.
You saved countless lives, but lost your own life doing it.
You were at my elbow that day, Professor. You may not have known it, but you were there. It was something you taught me, a poem by John Donne. Any man's death diminishes me because I am involved in mankind, and therefore never sin to know for whom the bell tolls, it tolls for thee.
Thompson, sir. Second form, class of 2002. I died protecting my students at the Sandy Hook shooting, but you taught me about courage.
Bryce, sir. Third form, class of 1998. I died of wounds in Afghanistan. You taught me patriotism.
Hudson, sir. Second form, class of 1985. You taught me about loyalty.
Whitening, sir. Fourth form, class of 2006. You taught me about ethics and honesty.
We have to go back now, Professor. But we want to let you know that we were grateful, that we were forever grateful, that each of us has in their part carried with them something that you gave them. Thank you, Professor.
Oh.
Good evening. No, he's gone. No, I don't know. Yes, he's fine. Yes, okay. Thank you. Merry Christmas, Professor!
Oh, thank you, my dears. God bless you all and Merry Christmas.
Again, joy to the world, the Lord has come.
Miss Landers, I've had time to think it over, and I think I will retire. I've taught everything I can, and I wouldn't want the returns to diminish. I really think I've left my mark. The few gauntlets of knowledge that I've thrown down may have been picked up. Be ashamed to die until you have won some victory for humanity. Well, I didn't win the victories, Miss Landers, but I helped others who did, so perhaps in some small measure, they are victories that I can share. I've lived a very good life, Miss Landers. A very full life, a very rich life. This particular changing of the guard, I wouldn't want it any other way.
Professor Ellis Fowler, teacher who discovered rather belatedly something of his own value. A very small scholastic lesson from the campus of the Twilight Zone.